The sky burned, not with the soft colors of sunset, but with a violent, choking orange. Smoke twisted through the air like living shadows, rising from shattered buildings and burning vehicles scattered across what used to be a quiet town. Now it was a war zone. Specialist Alina Carter moved through the ruins, her boots crunching over broken glass and debris. Every step she took felt too loud, too exposed. Her rifle was raised, her breathing controlled, but her heart was racing. She wasn't supposed to be alone. Just hours earlier, everything had been different. Clear skies, calm comes, a mission that was supposed to be routine. Alina had been part of a U.S. reconnaissance unit sent to monitor rising tensions between American and Russian forces near the border. It wasn't supposed to turn into a battlefield. But war doesn't ask for permission. It just begins. "Stay sharp," her commander had said over the radio as their convoy rolled through the narrow streets. "Something feels off." Alina remembered glancing at the rooftops, the empty windows, the silence. Too quiet. Even then, something felt wrong. Then, everything exploded. A deafening blast tore through the lead vehicle, flipping it into the air like it weighed nothing. Fire erupted, smoke blinded everything, and the shockwave slammed into Alina's chest like a hammer. Ambush, take cover. Gunfire erupted instantly. From rooftops, from alleyways, from everywhere. Alina had thrown herself behind a crumbling wall, her ears ringing, vision blurred. "Carter, stay with me," Jackson's voice cut through the chaos. "I'm here," she shouted back, forcing herself to focus. Bullets slammed into the wall above her, sending fragments flying. She leaned out, fire ducked back. Again. Again. But the enemy wasn't random. They were coordinated. Precise. Prepared. Within minutes, everything collapsed. One by one, her team's voices disappeared from the comms. "Man down. We're surrounded. I need backup." Static. Then silence. Alina blinked hard, forcing herself back to the present. The memory faded, but the reality remained. She was alone. She checked her rifle. Low ammo. Too low. Her radio crackled faintly in her ear. "Any unit respond," static. "Alina Carter, come in," static. Then nothing. No signal. No backup. No way out. A distant rumble rolled through the ground beneath her feet. Heavy. Slow. Powerful. Alina froze. "Tanks." She moved quickly, climbing the broken remains of a staircase to get a better view. Each step creaked under her weight, threatening to collapse at any moment. At the top, she carefully peeked over the edge. And saw them. Armored vehicles pushing through the main road. Soldiers moving in tight formation, scanning every building, every corner. They weren't just passing through. They were clearing the area. Systematically. Hunting survivors. Hunting her. Alina pulled back, her mind racing. Think. Running through open streets, impossible. Fighting head-on, suicide. Hiding, temporary. She needed something better. Something smarter. Her eyes scanned the ruins again, and then she saw it. Across the street. A partially collapsed building. Upper floors destroyed. But the lower section intact. A basement, maybe. A place to hide. Or a trap. Alina took a slow breath. There was no perfect choice. Only the next move. She tightened her grip on the rifle. Then ran. The moment she broke cover. Gunfire erupted. "Contact, moving target," a distant voice shouted. Bullets cracked through the air, striking the ground around her, sending sparks and debris flying. Elena sprinted, her lungs burning, her legs pushing harder than ever before. Don't stop. Don't look back. Just move. She reached the building and dove through the broken entrance, hitting the ground hard and rolling to the side. Pain shot through her shoulder. She ignored it. Pain meant she was alive. Alive meant she could still fight. Inside, darkness swallowed her. The air was cold, heavy, silent. Too silent. Elena stood slowly, raising her rifle, every sense on high alert. Her footsteps echoed faintly. Glass crunched beneath her boots. Water dripped somewhere in the distance. Each sound felt louder than it should. More dangerous. Then, a movement. Behind her. Elena spun instantly, rifle aimed. Don't move, she snapped, finger tightening on the trigger. A figure stepped out of the shadows. Small. Fragile. Not a soldier. A young girl. No older than 10. Her clothes were dirty, her face pale, her eyes wide with fear. She didn't speak. Didn't move. Just stared. Elena's grip softened slightly. Lowered just a little. It's okay, she said, her voice quieter now. I'm not going to hurt you. The girl didn't respond. Just stood there frozen. Elena slowly knelt down, lowering herself to the girl's level. Are you alone? She asked gently. A small, hesitant nod. Something shifted inside Elena. This wasn't just about her anymore. Not anymore. Suddenly, boom! A massive explosion shook the building. Dust fell from the ceiling. The ground trembled. Voices shouted from outside. They went in there, searched the building. Elena's heart dropped. They were coming. Vast. She looked at the girl, then toward a dark hallway leading deeper into the building. A decision. Right now. Stay and fight. Or run and risk everything. Elena reached out and grabbed the girl's hand. Firm. Steady. Stay close to me, she whispered. No matter what happens, don't let go. The girl nodded, gripping her hand tightly. Footsteps echoed above them. Heavy. Getting closer. Elena took a deep breath. Then turned toward the darkness. Let's move. As they disappeared into the shadows, the sound of boots thundered through the building behind them. The hunt had begun. And for Elena Carter, this was no longer just a mission. It was survival. The voice came from the darkness. Cold, controlled, deadly. Don't move. Elena froze instantly. Her grip tightened around the rifle, her finger resting on the trigger, but she didn't fire. Not yet. The little girl beside her stiffened, her hand trembling violently in Elena's grasp. The tunnel ahead was pitch black, swallowing the figure except for a faint outline. Then, a step forward. A soldier emerged from the shadows. Different uniform. Different gear. Enemy. His weapon was already aimed. Straight at them. Drop it, he ordered. Elena's mind raced. 3 bullets. 1 enemy. Close range. She could take the shot. Maybe. But if she missed, it was over. For both of them. The soldier took another step closer. Now. The girl squeezed Elena's hand tighter. Elena felt it. Fear. Pure, uncontrollable fear. And in that moment, the decision wasn't about winning. It was about survival. Slowly, carefully, Elena lowered her rifle. Let it hang. The soldier nodded slightly, stepping closer. Good choice. But Elena wasn't done. Not even close. As he moved within arm's reach, she struck. In one explosive motion, Alina lunged forward, slamming the barrel of her rifle into his weapon, knocking it aside. At the same time, she pivoted, driving her shoulder into his chest. The shot fired, but missed. The bullet slammed into the wall behind them. The tunnel erupted into chaos. Alina didn't hesitate. She followed through with the momentum, sweeping his legs out from under him. He hit the ground hard. His weapon slid across the floor. Alina moved fast. Too fast. She pinned him down, grabbed the knife from her vest, and pressed it against his throat. "Don't," she whispered. For a second, everything stopped. The soldier stared at her, breathing heavy, eyes calculating. Then, slowly, he raised his hands. Alina held her position. Steady, controlled, but her mind was already moving ahead. This wasn't over. Not even close. "Are there more of you?" she asked quietly. No answer. She pressed the blade slightly harder. "Answer me." A pause. Then, "Yes." Her heart sank. Of course there were. There were always more. "Where?" "Above, outside, everywhere," he replied. Not helpful, but enough. Alina knocked him unconscious with a sharp strike to the head. Clean. Vast. Silent. She stood up immediately, scanning the tunnel. No more movement. No more voices. But that didn't mean safety. It just meant time was running out. The girl looked at her, wide-eyed. You fight like," she whispered, unable to finish. Alina didn't respond. There was no time for that. She picked up the enemy's weapon. Checked it. Loaded. Full magazine. A small advantage. But she'd take anything. "Stay close," Alina said. "Don't make a sound." They moved deeper into the tunnel. Faster now. More urgent. The air grew colder. Darker. The walls tighter. This wasn't just a basement. It was something else. Old. Forgotten. Maybe an escape route. Maybe a trap. Minutes passed. Or maybe seconds. Time felt broken down here. Then, a sound. Distant. Echoing. Voices. Multiple. Alina stopped instantly. Pulled the girl back. Listened. Checked the lower levels. They couldn't have gone far. Find them. Her stomach tightened. They were being hunted. Systematically. Alina looked around. There was a split ahead. 2 tunnels. One left. One right. No signs. No clues. No time. She closed her eyes for a brief second. Listened. Felt. Chose. Left, she whispered. They moved. Quick. Silent. The tunnel sloped downward, leading even deeper underground. The air became heavier. Harder to breathe. Then, light. Faint. Ahead. Alina slowed. Raised her weapon. Approached carefully. At the end of the tunnel. An opening. Leading outside. Hoping. She stepped forward. Then froze. The exit wasn't empty. 2 soldiers stood near the opening. Talking. Armed. Alert. Alina pulled back instantly. Heart pounding. So close. And yet, still trapped. She leaned against the wall, thinking fast. 2 enemies. Close range. She had a better weapon now. But she also had the girl. Risk everything. Or wait. The voices outside grew louder. More soldiers approaching. Waiting wasn't an option. Elena looked at the girl. "Can you stay quiet?" she whispered. The girl nodded. "Stay behind me, no matter what." Elena took a deep breath, then moved. She stepped out of the tunnel. Fast, precise. 2 shots, 2 hits. Both soldiers dropped before they could react. Silence. Elena grabbed the girl's hand. "Go." They ran out of the tunnel. Into the open. Fresh air hit her lungs. Cold. Sharp. Alive. But freedom didn't last long. Engines roared in the distance. Shouts echoed. "Contact over there." They had been seen. Elena turned, and her heart dropped. More soldiers. At least 6. Closing in fast. No cover. No escape. No time. The girl looked up at her, terrified. Elena tightened her grip on the rifle, stepped forward, placed herself between the enemy and the child. If this was it, she wouldn't run. She would fight. The moment stretched thin. 6 soldiers. Closing in. Weapons raised. No cover. No escape. Elena didn't move. Didn't step back. She stepped forward. The girl clung to her jacket, shaking. "Elena," she whispered, her voice breaking. Elena didn't look back. "Stay behind me," she said calmly, "and don't run." The first shot came from the enemy. A sharp crack tore through the air. Elena reacted instantly, dropping to one knee and firing back. 2 shots. Precise. Controlled. One soldier fell. The others scattered, taking positions behind debris and broken walls. They were trained, disciplined, and now fully focused on her. Bullets slammed into the ground around Elena, kicking up dust and fragments. She grabbed the girl and pulled her behind a chunk of shattered concrete. "Stay low," she ordered. Her mind raced. 5 left. Limited ammo. Open ground. Bad odds. But Elena Carter didn't think in odds. She thought in actions. She leaned out, fired again. A soldier ducked just in time. Another returned fire instantly. A bullet grazed Elena's arm. Pain flared. Sharp. Burning. But she ignored it. Pain meant nothing right now. She looked around quickly. Left, open street. Right, collapsed building. Ahead, enemy. Behind, tunnel. No easy way out. Then she saw it. A wrecked military truck about 20 meters away. Half destroyed, but still offering cover. It was a risk. A big one. But it was something. Elena turned to the girl. "When I say run, you run to that truck. Don't stop, don't look back." The girl shook her head, terrified. "I can't." "You can," Elena said firmly. "You have to." Another burst of gunfire struck their cover. Concrete cracked. Time was up. "Run!" Elena jumped up and opened fire, drawing attention to herself. Bullets flew toward her immediately. She moved fast, zigzagging, firing, pushing forward. Behind her, small footsteps. The girl was running. Good. Elena reached the truck first, sliding behind its metal frame just as bullets slammed into it. The girl dove beside her, gasping for breath. "You did it," Elena said quickly. But there was no time to rest. The enemy was advancing. Slow. Careful. Closing the distance. Elena peeked around the truck. 3 soldiers moving on the left. 2 on the right. They were trying to surround her. Smart. Elena checked her weapon. Not much left. Again, she needed to change the fight. Now, her eyes scanned the area again, then locked onto something. Fuel leaking from the truck, a trail of it spreading across the ground. An idea. Dangerous, but effective. She pulled out a flare from her vest. Her last one. The girl looked at her. "What are you doing?" Elena didn't answer. She lit the flare. The bright red light cut through the chaos. Then, she threw it. The flare landed in the fuel. For a split second, nothing happened. Then, boom! Fire exploded across the ground, spreading instantly. A wall of flames erupted between Elena and the advancing soldiers. Shouts filled the air. "Fall back! Fire!" The enemy staggered, forced to retreat. Some caught in the flames, others scrambling for cover. Elena didn't wait. "Move," she shouted. She grabbed the girl's hand and ran. Past the burning wreckage. Through the smoke. Into the ruined streets. Behind them. Chaos. Fire. Confusion. Ahead. Uncertainty. They ran until Elena's lungs burned, and her legs felt like they would collapse. Finally, she slowed, then stopped. They were in another part of the city now. Quieter, but not safe. The girl dropped to her knees, exhausted. I can't run anymore." Elena knelt beside her, breathing hard. Sweat and ash covered her face. "Hey, look at me," Elena said gently. The girl looked up, tears in her eyes. "You're still here," Elena said. "You're still fighting." The girl nodded slowly. A brief moment of silence passed, the kind that feels almost peaceful. Then, a distant sound. Helicopters. Elena's head snapped up. "Hope." She stood quickly, scanning the sky. Through the smoke, she saw them. Military helicopters. But hope faded just as quickly. They weren't American. Her heart sank. The sound grew louder. Closer. Search pattern. They were looking for survivors. Or targets. Elena grabbed the girl again. "We have to move now." They slipped into a nearby building, just as the helicopters roared overhead. Dust blasted through the streets. The walls shook. Inside, darkness again. Elena leaned against the wall, catching her breath. Her arm throbbed from the earlier wound. Her body was reaching its limit. But she couldn't stop. Not now. The girl looked at her. "Are we going to die?" she asked quietly. Elena paused. For just a second. Then she shook her head. "No. Not fear. Not doubt. Just one word. Determination." "We're getting out of here," Elena said. But even as she said it, a new sound echoed through the building. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Someone else was inside. Elena's grip tightened on her weapon. Her body tensed. Not over yet. Not even close. The footsteps stopped. Right outside the room. Silence. Then, the door handle moved. The handle turned slowly. A faint click echoed in the silence. Elena raised her weapon, her body going completely still, every muscle locked, every sense sharpened. The girl pressed against her side, barely breathing. The door creaked open. A shadow stepped in. Tall. Armed. Dangerous. Elena didn't hesitate. She lunged forward, but stopped just short of pulling the trigger. "Wait, don't shoot," the man whispered urgently, raising his hands. His accent. American. Alina narrowed her eyes, still aiming straight at his chest. "Identify yourself." "Staff Sergeant Miller," he replied quickly. "U.S. Army. I've been trying to reach any survivors." Alina didn't lower her weapon. "Not yet." "Prove it." The man slowly reached for his vest, pulling out a worn identification patch and tossing it gently onto the ground between them. Alina glanced down. "Legit." She stepped back slightly, but kept her guard up. "You're alone?" she asked. Miller nodded. "My unit got wiped out in the first strike. I've been moving building to building since." He looked at the girl, then back at Alina. "You picked up a civilian." "She's not optional," Alina said firmly. Miller gave a small nod. "Understood." For a brief second, there was something close to relief. Not safety. Not yet. But not alone anymore. Then, gunfire erupted outside. Loud. Close. Miller's expression changed instantly. "They're sweeping again. We don't have much time." Alina stepped closer. "Any way out?" Miller nodded. "There's an extraction point about 2 blocks east, a temporary evac zone. If we can reach it, we might get out." "Might," Alina repeated. "They're pulling out under heavy pressure," he said. "It won't stay open for long." Time was running out. Again. Alina looked at the girl, then back at Miller. "Lead the way." They moved fast. Through broken hallways. Down collapsed staircases. Out into the open streets again. The city was barely recognizable now. Fire burned in the distance. Smoke covered the sky. The sound of war echoed from every direction. Miller led them through side alleys, avoiding open roads. "Stay low," he whispered. "They've got snipers watching the main routes." Alina stayed close behind him, the girl's hand still locked in hers. Every step felt heavier. Her body was exhausted. Her arm throbbed. But she kept moving. They turned a corner. And froze. 3 enemy soldiers stood ahead. Too close. Too sudden. For a split second, everyone just stared. Then, gunfire. Miller fired first, dropping one instantly. Alina followed 2 quick shots. Another went down. The 3rd soldier ducked behind cover and returned fire. Bullets ripped through the wall beside them. "Move," Miller shouted. They ran. Faster now. No more stealth. No more hiding. Just survival. The sounds of pursuit came quickly. Shouts. Footsteps. More soldiers joining the chase. "They're on us," Alina yelled. Miller pointed ahead. Almost there. They turned the final corner. And saw it. An open area. Military vehicles. Soldiers. Helicopters landing and taking off. The extraction point. But it wasn't safe. Not yet. Gunfire erupted from behind them. Closer than ever. Alina turned and fired, covering their approach. Miller did the same. "Go," he shouted to the girl. She hesitated. Then ran. Alina followed, still firing. Still holding the line. A bullet struck near her feet. Another hit the ground beside her. Closer. Closer. Then, impact. Alina stumbled. Pain exploded through her side. She dropped to one knee. "Elena," Miller shouted. The girl stopped. Turned back. "No, keep going," Alina yelled, forcing herself up. She gritted her teeth. Ignored the pain. And kept moving. Step by step. Closer. Closer. Miller reached her, pulling her forward. "Stay with me." They crossed into the extraction zone. Soldiers rushed toward them, providing cover, returning fire. "Get them out of here," someone shouted. Hands grabbed Alina, pulled her forward, toward the helicopter. The girl climbed in first, turning back, tears streaming down her face. Alina followed. Barely. Miller jumped in behind them as the helicopter doors slammed shut. Geo, Geo, Geo. The helicopter lifted. Vast. Violent. Gunfire chased them from below. But they were rising. Escaping. Alina leaned back, her vision blurring. Her body finally giving in. The girl grabbed her hand again. Tight. Unwilling to let go. "We made it," she whispered. Alina looked at her, a faint smile forming despite everything. "Yeah," she said softly. "We did." Outside, the war zone faded beneath them. Smoke, fire, destruction, all growing smaller. But the memory would never fade. Alina closed her eyes for a moment. Not in fear, not in weakness, but in relief. Because she had survived. Not alone, but together. And sometimes, that's what makes the difference.